Okay. So we shall continue with that one. And today we shall do some of the problems applying that formula. And along with that we will study one more theorem, that is Leibniz theorem. Okay. So let us start. If first question, we shall discuss the first question. If y is equal to, yes, Karthikeyan, please carry on. Where these are all using, or these applications of these equations. Is that what you meant? Yes. Actually, which background you are from, Karthikeyan? Which engineering field? Is it computer science, electrical, mechanical? Okay, electrical. Okay, when we are talking about mechanical engineering field, there are different applications such as vibrations, and I know in electrical also there may be the study of vibrations, and also electrical network analysis. Have you studied about network analysis? Yes. Electrical network analysis, there may be different networks involved, and you need to formulate some equations. Have you studied, Karthikeyan? Okay. So in these types of say vibrations, etc., there may be, say, if I am taking a case of suspension, that all of you know, if there is a vehicle, there are suspensions involved there, and when this is getting vibrated, that is, this produces some certain oscillations. Yes, these produce some certain oscillations, which accordingly, which can be formulated in the form of equations. Okay, which can be formulated in the form of a differential equation. And according to the nature of vibration, what is the frequency of the wave or the frequency of the oscillator which makes it oscillate, different types of equations can be solved, and we can introduce new dampers, etc., which can be utilized to dampen these effect of vibrations. Okay, we use dampers and suspensions, etc., but we need to know for how much time it may depend, what may be the maximum magnitude. That is, if we are taking an oscillation like this is the maximum. This is what we call as the amplitude, isn't it? Amplitude, and this we are just drawing the amplitude, and with along with the time. For how much duration this vibration will persist? What is the maximum amplitude? It might be like this. It might be going like this. So these all things can be formulated in the form of differential equations. Understood? Every physical process or practical process can be formulated in the form of differential equation. And why we are going for nth derivatives, etc., means we don't know which pattern it might follow, which order it might follow. So we need to know these type of nth derivatives. By that we can find out for how much time it may persist, what is the maximum amplitude it may take, and with reference to slope, we have already discussed about maxima and minima, isn't it? And why we are taking the second derivative. And second derivative, if slope is 0, means that might be maxima or minima. And if the second derivative is again negative, means that point is the second derivative again is negative, means that point is a maxima or minima. Which one? If y dash is 0, then y double dash is negative, then what can you call that point? yes, that point becomes a maximum point. Okay. So these are the some of the applications which may be introduced in the field of mechanical engineering, and also network analysis. We are more focused on the metrics formulations. All these things can be formulated into the metrics, and that can be solved. Okay. Not only that, our calculators, computers, everything works on the basis of algorithms, and these algorithms actually function based on some 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. That these are the codes, right? The codes which actually perform the functions in a computers, etc. And these are all written in the form of metrics. Understood? So that is the application of metrics. Whereas if we are dealing with variant or transient problems, transient problem means, what is meant by transient problem? What is meant by transient problem? Transient means unsteady. Okay, unsteady. That is which might change with respect to time. Which might change with respect to time. So these type of problems are usually studied with the help of differential equation. That's why that is the importance of differential equation, and that's why we are finding out the nth derivatives so that we can apply these and find out for how long the process may be carried out, or what may be the maximum amplitude, so that we can design all the components accordingly. I think you got a certain idea regarding the application of differential equations. Isn't it, Karthikeyan? Okay. Yes, so we shall do some more problems. That is with regard to y is equal to, if the equation is y is equal to 1 by x square plus a square, then find y of n. How can we do it? If y is equal to 1 by x square plus a square, find y of n. That is, you should find out the nth derivative of y. So how can we proceed? First write down y is equal to 1 by x square plus a square. And if it was of the form x square minus a square, how would have you written? X square minus a square, how you would have you written the equation? Yes, this can be written as a square minus b square means a plus b into a minus b. So it will be 1 by x plus a into x minus a. Am I right? X plus a into x minus a. Yes, what about Saida? Yes. Okay, therefore x square plus a square, now it is of the form x square plus a square. So how can we convert this of this form? How can we convert it in this form? Yes, we have already mentioned about complex number. The complex number z can be written as x plus iy. Okay, complex number z can be written as x plus iy, where x is known as the, anyone? X is known as the real part. Okay, real part, which can be represented on a original real number system. Okay, y is known as the imaginary part. Y is known as the, yes, imaginary part. So if I am taking x plus iy, and what about this I? I is defined as I square is equal to minus 1. I square is equal to minus 1. All of you please note down these things. Very important. I square is equal to minus 1. Therefore, what about I? What will be I? Square root of minus 1. Okay, square root of minus 1. No, it will not be 1. Understood? We cannot define say root of minus 1, isn't it? Root of a negative number is not defined. Root of a negative number is not defined. Clear? Yes. That's why we are introducing this imaginary part. That's since it cannot be defined, that is why we are going for imaginary system. Okay. Yes. So if I am taking x plus iy into x minus iy, what will be the expansion? It will be x square plus ixy minus ixy, then minus I square into y square, minus I square into y square. Am I right? Am I right? Yes. What about others? Is it right? Is the expansion right? Yes, Karthikeyan? Yes. Therefore, this get cancelled and it becomes x square. What about, yes, Mohammed says is x square minus y square. Is it so? Already there is a minus sign here. Already there is a minus sign here. And what about I square? Yes, Karthikeyan, what is the value of I square? What is the value of I square? I square value is minus 1. Okay. Please refer here. I square value is minus 1. Therefore, minus 1 into y square. So it becomes x square plus y square. Got it? X square plus y square. Therefore, if this is a form x square plus y square or a square plus b square, how can I expand it? I can factorize this into x plus iy into x minus iy. Am I right? Can I do it like this? This is what we have just expanded. That we have got like this. That means I can write in place of x square plus y square, x plus iy into x minus iy. Therefore, a square plus b square can be written as a square plus b square can be written as yes, a plus ib into a minus ib. Right. A plus ib into a minus ib. All of you agree? Okay. So, if this is the case, let us come back to our question. That is y is equal to 1 divided by x square plus a square. This I can write it as 1 by, this can you tell me? Can you help me out? How can I write it? Yes, x plus ia into x minus ia, right. Now we should go for partial fractions. Next step is to go for partial fractions, because denominator there are two products, two factors. So I can write it as 1 by x plus IA into x minus IA can be written as any constant A by x plus IA plus B by x minus IA. I hope you know how to find out the value for A and B. Just multiply this one, isn't it? You just multiply, it will be x minus IA plus B into x plus IA, and denominator will be x plus IA into x minus IA. Therefore here the same denominator is there, that's why it gets cancelled, and here it is 1. So there is no x value and no I value, only one constant is there. So I can equate the coefficient of, from this, you just expand these things and equate coefficient of x and constants. X and constants. Is it clear? Like this one problem we have done in the last class, isn't it? Okay. Can you just give me the value for A and B? Can you just give me the value for A and B? Yes. A is equal to 1 by 2 IA. A is equal to minus 1 by 2 IA, and B is equal to 1 by 2 IA. Are you getting it, Karthikeyan? When you solve it, you will get it as A is equal to 1 by minus 1 by 2 IA, and B is equal to, yes, 1 by 2 IA. 1 by 2 IA. So this thing you can replace in the first expression. That is, now y becomes, our question becomes minus 1 by 2 IA into 1 by x plus IA plus 1 by 2 IA into 1 by x minus IA. Okay. Now you need to take the nth derivative, that is d raised to n of y. Therefore minus 1 by 2 IA I can take outside. D raised to n of 1 by x plus IA. This is of which form? This is of which form? D raised to n of, yes, d raised to n of 1 by ax plus b. That form, right? D raised to n of 1 by ax plus b. What is d raised to n of 1 by ax plus b? D raised to n of 1 by ax plus b. Yes, anyone? This, yes. This minus 1 raised to minus 1 raised to n minus 1 raised to n factorial a raised to n by ax plus b the whole raised to n plus 1. Okay, n plus 1. Yes. Like that you can do, and remaining you can just substitute and you will get the answer. Is that clear to you? Okay. Yes. Now, next one is we will do some other type of problems, that is regarding the trigonometric relations. First one is, suppose y is equal to cos square 2x. Y is equal to cos square 2x. You need to find out the nth derivative of this one. Yn you have to find out. Do you have any nth derivative expression for cos square x? Do you have any expression for cos square x? No. But you have the relation d raised to n of cos x. Do you know this one? Have we derived the expression for this one? Yes. What is d raised to n of cos x? What is d raised to n of cos x? We have studied it as d raised to n of cos ax plus b. Please refer your notes, last class note. You will get it as a raised to n into cos ax plus b plus n pi by 2. Am I right? Yes. What about d raised to n of sin ax plus b? Sin ax plus b, it was a raised to n into sin ax plus b plus n pi by 2. Agree? Okay. Now, just here it comes cos square term is coming. If I need to convert it of the form ax plus b. I need to convert it of the form ax plus b. So what I can do here is, you need to know some trigonometric relations, that is cos square x can be 1 plus cos 2x by 2. Okay, that is, I shall give you some relation, that is 1 plus cos 2x is equal to 2 cos square x. 1 minus cos 2x is equal to 2 sin square x. Okay. 1 plus cos 2x is equal to 2 cos square x, and 1 minus cos 2x is 2 sin square x. So from this, can you tell me what is cos square x minus sin square x? What is cos square x minus sin square x? Yes, is the voice clear? Is the voice clear? Muhammad and Saida? Yes, Karthikeyan, is it scrambling still? Okay. Yes, Muhammad and Saida, is the voice clear to you? Is the voice clear to you? Okay, Karthikeyan, just refresh your page and enter. Yes. So when you do this, you get it as cos square x minus sin square x is equal to cos 2x. Right. Cos 2x. So how we arrive at this one is, you can just say, if you substitute instead of sin square x, we know that sin square x plus cos square x is equal to what? Sin square x plus cos square x is equal to what? 1. Is equal to 1. So from that, you just take sin square x is equal to 1 minus cos square x and substitute in this. you will automatically get the first expression. And if you substitute for cos square x, you will get the second expression. That's all. Understood? For these three relations you should know, that is which one? Cos square x minus sin square x is equal to cos 2x, and 1 plus cos 2x is equal to 2 cos square x. 1 minus cos 2x is equal to 2 sin square x. Okay? Yes. Now we are going to find out d raised to n of cos square 2x. Cos square 2x. Yes, Karthikeyan, are you able to hear? Are you able to hear? Okay. So d raised to n of cos square 2x can be written as, why we are converting it to this form? From this, cos square x can be written as cos square x is equal to 1 plus cos 2x by 2, isn't it? Now what our plan is to convert it in this form. Why we need to convert of this form? Because we don't have any standard result for cos square x or sin square x, etc. Am I right? We only have standard results for cos ax plus b, that is a raised to n cos, cos or sin, a raised to n of cos ax plus b, a raised to n cos, yes, ax plus b plus n pi by 2. Am I right? N pi by 2. Therefore, that's why we go for this one. That's why we are converting this cos square in terms of cos. So I can write it as d raised to n of 1 plus. Yes, now please tell me, for cos square x, it is 1 plus cos 2x by 2. Therefore, for cos square 2x, what it will be? For cos square 2x, what it will be? Yes, right, cos 4x. Can you agree? Can you agree with Mohammed? Yes. 1 plus cos 4x the whole divided by 2. Clear? Okay. Now I can split it up. That is, I can take this 2 outside, since it is a constant. I can take 2 outside into d raised to n of 1 plus d raised to n of cos 4x plus d raised to n of cos 4x. Okay. So what is d raised to n of 1? What is d raised to n of 1? Yes, derivative of a constant is, first time if you differentiate itself, that becomes 0. Then what about n time differentiation? There is nothing there, isn't it? Are you getting me? Yes, d raised to n means what? D of 1, that you are again d square 1 like that. D of 1 itself becomes 0. Am I right? Try the. Yes, therefore it becomes half of 0 plus. What about d raised to n of cos 4x? What about d raised to n of cos 4x? Yes, a raised to n. Instead of a here, what is there? Instead of a here, you can write it as 4 raised to n, isn't it? 4 raised to n cos 4x plus n pi by 2. So this is the answer. Clear? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. So let us go to next problem. Okay. These are just derivations. Okay, no need to study this. Whatever we have derived last class, that are the standard formula. Okay? Yes. So depending upon this, I shall give you one more question. That is, y is equal to cos square x into sin 2x. Cos square x into sin 2x. Can you do this? You please try out, and after 5 minutes we will discuss the steps. Okay? Can you try? Please keep in mind these equations. That is cos square x minus sin square x is equal to cos 2x, and 1 minus cos square x is equal to, yes, 1 minus cos 2x is equal to 2 sin square x, and 1 plus cos 2x is equal to 2 cos 2x. Please try it out, and then we shall discuss the steps. Yes. So Saida got it as 2 raised to n minus 1 sine 2x plus n pi by 2 plus 4 raised to n minus 1 sine 4x plus n pi by 2. What about Mohammed? What about Mohammed? Have you got it? Okay. So we shall do it. So first thing what you have to do here is, we don't have any standard relation for cos square x, isn't it? Therefore what you can do, you need to convert it of the form cos 2x, that form. Yes. That is, you can use this relation and convert it. Cos square x can be written as, cos square x can be written as, yes, 1 plus cos 2x by 2. Right. So it will be 1 plus cos 2x the whole divided by 2 into sine 2x. Okay. Next thing is, you can multiply this one. So it becomes sine 2x plus sine 2x cos 2x. Yes, 1 by 2 is a constant that I can take outside. Like this you will get. Am I right? Now, what is this one? Sine 2x cos 2x. What is this one? Sine 2x cos 2x. What is sine 2x? How can I write sine 2x? 2 sine x cos x. This relation you should know. These are coming under trigonometric section. Sine 2x is 2 sine x cos x. Therefore, if I am multiplying here by 2 and dividing by 2, what will be the numerator? 2 sine 2x cos 2x. What it will be? According to this relation, when you just compare this one, 2 sine 2x cos 2x will be, what will be 2 sine 2x cos 2x? Yes, Saida says it's, yes, it becomes sine 4x, isn't it? Mohammed, please listen. Sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x cos x. Agree? This is the standard formula. Now, you are having an expression. I am dividing and multiplying by 2. So that becomes, the net effect is nil. So 2 sine 2x cos 2x. By comparing this relation, what you can write? 2 sine 2x cos 2x. What it will be? Here x is replaced by 2x, isn't it? So usually it is sine 2x. Sine 2 of x is 2x, therefore it becomes sine 4x. Right. It is sine 4x. Now, therefore this can be written as half of sine 2x plus, yes, 1 by 2 is there. Remaining thing I can write it as sine 4x. Agree? Therefore now we have converted this. Now we have converted this of the form sine ax plus b, isn't it? Half of sine 2x plus sine 4x by 2. Now I am going to find out why n means. It is actually d raised to n of, half can be taken outside. So it is half of d raised to n of sine 2x plus d raised to n of half of sine 4x. Right? Am I right? Yes. Now it's very simple. You just apply the standard result. Sine ax plus b, d raised to n of sine ax plus b is equal to a raised to n of sine ax plus b plus n pi by 2. Okay. From that you can just write it and simplify. Okay, got it? Yes. So we can do one more another type of problem. Say y is equal to e raised to 3x into sine square x. E raised to 3x into sine square x. We have to find out yn. We have to find out yn. Can you try? Can you try? So what will be the first step that you can do? What you should do? Sine square x have to be converted into ax plus b form, isn't it? So which relation you can use for converting sine square x? For converting sine square x, which relation can you use? Can use? Yes, 1 minus cos 2x by 2. 1 minus cos 2x by 2. And then you are already having some standard formula for e raised to ax into some other function, isn't it? E raised to ax cos ax plus b. We have done it, am I right? Last class we might have done it. E raised to x into sine bx plus c is found out to be, yes, r raised to n e raised to ax sine bx plus c plus n alpha, where r is equal to root of a square plus b square and alpha is equal to tan inverse b by a. You please refer the notes and try to do it. Will you do it now? Please do it now. I shall wait. Okay. First step is conversion of this one, then multiply that one and then split it up and find out d raised to n of y. Please do it. Yes. You have got the answer. What is the answer that you are getting? 3 raised to by 20 raised to 3x. Yes, what you are getting is right. That is half into 3 raised to n into e raised to 3x minus half into yes, what about r and yes, Mohammed, you should replace r and alpha. Okay, r is equal to root of a square plus b square. What is a and b here? A and b here is a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 2, right? Therefore, it will be 13, right? 13 raised to n by 2. Root of 13. R will become root of 13. Right. Just replace that one. And alpha is tan inverse 2 by 3. Okay. So that's right. So next, I think we have done some sample problems from this section. Now we move on to the next theorem that is known as the Leibniz theorem. Leibniz formula. Okay. So Leibniz formula states that if u and v are two functions of x, if u and v are two functions of x, then d raised to n of uv is equal to un into v plus nc1 into un minus 1 into v1 plus nc2 into un minus 2 into v2 plus etc. plus ncn u into vn. Okay. So let us look at it once again. D raised to n of uv is equal to un into v. What does un stand for? What does un stand for? Nth derivative of yes, u. Nth derivative of u multiplied with v. So in the first term, are we differentiating v? No. Yes, we are not differentiating v. Plus, in the second term, how many times we have differentiated v? Can you tell me how many times we have differentiated v? Yes, we have differentiated v one time. That's why it's written v1. Agree? Yes. Now, how many times we have differentiated u? How many times we have differentiated u? Yes, n minus 1 times. And what about NCR? How do you expand NCR? Anyone? How do you expand NCR? Its NCR is expanded as n factorial by r factorial into n minus r factorial. What Saida has written is just n factorial. Okay, n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into etc. up to 1. Agreed? Okay. So what about r factorial? What will be r factorial? What will be r factorial? If n factorial is this much, what about r factorial? Instead of n, what you should replace? Instead of n, what you should replace? Yes, r. R into r minus 1 into r minus 2 into etc. up to 1. That is 3 into 2 into 1 like that. N minus r also like that. Therefore, first let us see what is the case here. The coefficient of un minus 1 is nc1. Actually here in the first term it is nc0. Can you tell me what is the value of nc0? What is the value of nc0? Yes, either says it's 1. Let us do it. nc0 means n factorial by r here is 0. 0 factorial into n minus 0 the whole factorial. And 0 factorial value is 1. Therefore, it will be n factorial divided by n factorial. Am I right? N factorial divided by n factorial. Therefore, this becomes 1 itself. Now, similarly, what is nc1? What is nc1? What will be nc1? It is right. N factorial divided by 1 factorial into n minus 1 factorial. Right. N factorial by n minus 1 the whole factorial. That is right. But again we can simplify, isn't it? You just tell me how can you write n factorial? How can you write n factorial? N into n minus 1 into n minus 2 like that. Agreed? N into n minus 1 into x. What about if I am just writing n minus 1, n into n minus 1 factorial? Is it right? N factorial can be written as n factorial. I am writing it as n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into etc. up to 3 into 2 into 1. So what is this actually? If I am just writing it, this can be replaced by n minus 1 factorial, isn't it? Yes. Therefore, these two gets cancelled and you will get nc1 is equal to n. nc1 is equal to n. Next one is nc2. What will be the value for nc2? Like this, can you just work out and tell me? Can you just work out and tell me what is nc2? Yes, Saida got it as? Yes, that 2 is missing for Saida. By 2 is there. Okay. N factorial by 2 factorial into n minus 2 the whole factorial. This r factorial you should take. So it becomes n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 the whole factorial divided by 2 factorial. 2 factorial means 2 itself. It is 2 into 1 into n minus 2 factorial. So it becomes n into n minus 1 divided by 2. Agreed? Okay. Now, what about nc3? nc3. Now, no need to do it. You can just tell by this pattern, isn't it? N into n minus 1 into n minus 2. What about the denominator? What about the denominator? By 6, right. 3 factorial means 3 into 2 into 1. That is 6. Okay. So, can you just give me the value for 5c1? 5c1. Yes, 5. What about phi c naught? What about phi c naught? One, right. What about phi c phi? What about phi c phi? Yes. Mohammed got it as 1. What about you? Saida? Yes, 1 itself. What about phi c2? Please tell me the value for phi c2. Phi c2, we are getting it as, Mohammed got it as 10. Can you agree? Yes. Phi c3. Phi c3. Again 10. Phi c4. Phi c4. 5. Okay, so what can you conclude from these values? From this I can write phi c naught is equal to phi c5, phi c1 is equal to phi c4, phi c2 is equal to phi c3. Am I right? So I can generalize. Instead of phi I am writing n. NCR is equal to n. See, remember here, it is phi here, phi here. Here R is 2. What about 3? How can you relate 3 with respect to 5 and 2? How can you relate 3 with respect to 5 and 2? 3 can be written as, yes, 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2. Therefore, what will be the general expression? NCR is equal to N C 5 minus 2. How did you get it? How did you get it? 5 minus 2. What is 5 here? N, right? Here 2 is R. Yes, NC N minus R. So this also you should know. In some series, later on we will study some infinite series. At that point of time, this might be helpful. Anyway, you have calculator, scientific calculator. These values you can directly put in the calculator and find out. But for some type of derivations, this relation you should remember. Have you noted it down? NCR is equal to NC N minus R. Okay. So this is what Leibniz theorem is about. Have you copied the Leibniz theorem? D raised to n of uv. Actually, Leibniz formula gives you the nth derivative, product rule of nth derivative, isn't it? If you are just having d of uv, you will have u into dv plus v into du. That's all. Like that, if you go on doing n times, you will get the Leibniz formula. So it is actually, once again, un into v plus nc1 into un minus 1 into v1 plus nc2 into un minus 2 into v2 plus etc. Last one, ncn into u into vn. Clear? So shall we do 1 or 2 problems? Yes. First question. Y is equal to x square into cos x. X square into cos x. Okay. Find yn. Find yn. So here which one you can take u and which one you can take v. Which one you will select as u and which one you will select as v. For that purpose, listen here. U into v, un. As Sada says, you can take u as x square. Is that okay? But, okay, 1 minute. I shall explain to you. Into v1 plus nc2 into un minus 2 into v2, etc. Okay. So here, if you are taking v, first term you are just taking v, you can write that v. Next term you are differentiating that v once. Next term you are differentiating it twice. Okay? Agreed? Agreed? Yes. Suppose you are selecting cos x as v. Okay? Then first you will write here cos x. Next you will write here which one? What is d by dx of cos x? What is d by dx of cos x? Minus sin x. Minus sin x. Next it will be d by dx of minus sin x, isn't it? v2 means d by dx of v1. For d by dx of minus sin x, again it will become minus cos x. Agreed? Like that it will go on continuing. Am I right? Like that it will go on continuing. Therefore, preferably you can select that function. Yes, it will not end. So you can select that function which will be differentiated and it becomes 0. Yes. So when you select v as x square, how it will become? How it will become? First one it becomes x square, second one 2x, third one 2. Then what about v3? Will there be any v3? Yes, 0. Yes. Like that you can simplify the expression. Understood? Okay. So here we can select v is equal to x square and u is equal to cos x. So d raised to n of x square cos x will be, un will be, yes, un means d raised to n of cos x into v means x square plus nc1 into d raised to n minus 1 of cos x into 2x plus nc2 into d raised to n minus 2 of cos x into 2 plus remaining is 0. Agreed? So what is d raised to n of cos x? What is d raised to n of cos x? Yes, is it minus sin x? Nth derivative. It is not simply d of cos x. It is d raised to n of cos x. It is d raised to n of cos ax plus b. That is cos x plus n pi by 2. Agree? Cos x plus n pi by 2. Mohammed, what about you, Mohammed? Understood? D raised to n of cos x means it will be cos x plus n pi by 2 into x square, and nc1 means what is the value for nc1? nc1, what is the value? N. Yes, n into, what about d raised to n minus 1 cos x? It will be cos x plus, instead of n here, what you should replace? Instead of n there, you should replace by, yes, n minus 1. n minus 1 pi by 2. Into 2x plus next one is nc2 means n into n minus 1 by 2 into cos x plus n minus 2 into pi by 2 into 2 plus etc. That's all. This is the answer. Understood? Did you get Leibniz theorem? Okay, if that is the case, shall I give you one problem? Can you do it now? Okay. So please take it. Y is equal to e raised to x into 2x plus 3 the whole cube. Find yn. Find yn. So whenever you are doing the problem, first you just write down the Leibniz theorem. Okay. Please don't skip this step. You write down the Leibniz theorem first up to three terms of first two terms and then the last term. Then substitute, then decide which to take u and which to take v. These steps are very important in mathematics. That's why I am again repeating. Okay. Then you just go on substituting and find out the answer. Clear? So whichever standard results you are using, say for example d raised to n of cos ax plus b is equal to cos ax plus b plus n pi by 2. That also you write side by side. Whichever properties you are using, you just write it side by side so that whenever you do the problem, you will automatically remember it. When you write and learn, automatically it will come to you. Otherwise, at the point of exam time, it will be difficult for you to remember. Agree? Yes. Please do it. Please do it and let me know what's the answer that you are getting. Yes, Muhammad has got some answer. Yes, how come a log comes in your answer, Muhammad? How come log comes in your answer? Yes, but what is the u and v that you took? What is u and v that you took? You took it as e raised to x, right? And what about v? V will be 2x plus 3, the whole cube. Saida, I hope you also took the same thing. Because when you differentiate a raised to x, that goes on like that. So d raised to n of uv will be d raised to n of uv will be un into v plus nc1 un minus 1 into v1 plus nc2 un minus 2 into v2 plus etc. plus ncn vn. All of you should write this one. This is the Leibniz formula. Leibniz formula. Then un, that is d raised to n of e raised to x into v means 2x plus 3 the whole cube. I am just replacing it. Just replacing u and v. Un refers to nth derivative of u into multiplied with v plus nc1 into, yes, d raised to n minus 1 of e raised to x into v1 refers to what? Which derivative? How much differentiate? How much times you should differentiate? Yes, one time. You should differentiate one time v. Then you will get v1. So what will be the differential of 2x plus 3 the whole cube? D by dx of 2x plus 3 the whole cube. First you can take this as x. X cube means 3 into x square, isn't it? 3 into x square. Is that enough? You should apply chain rule, isn't it? Yes, 3 into x square into 2 into 2. Okay, so it becomes 6 into 2x plus 3 the whole square. It becomes 6 into 2x plus 3 the whole square. Plus, next one nc2 into d raised to n minus 2 into e raised to x into, yes, again it will become 6 into 2 into 2x plus 3 the whole is 1 into 2 plus nc3 into d raised to n minus 3 e raised to x plus what about the last one? It will be 24 into 2, yes, 48. And will there be any more term? Will there be any more term? No, because differential of this one becomes differential of 48. So differentiating 48, what it will become? It will be 0. Here? Yes. So what about d raised to n of e raised to x? What is nth derivative of e raised to x? E raised to x itself. E raised to x itself. Right, Muhammad? I think that's where you got confused, isn't it? Yes. Therefore, it becomes e raised to x. That you can take out. Here also it becomes e raised to x. In my whichever, how many times you differentiate e raised to x, you will get e raised to x itself. That is what it means. Differential of first term is e raised to x. Second also is e raised to x, like that. Got it? Karthikeyan, is it clear? So I think still there is problem at Karthikeyan's end. Okay. So e raised to x you can take outside. Then what you can do? Remaining terms is 2x plus 3 the whole cube plus nc1 means n itself into 6 into 2x plus 3 the whole square plus etc. Clear to you? I hope you know how to take u and how to take v and then apply the Leibniz formula. Is it clear? Okay, Karthik. You just go through the recorded session. You will be able to understand. Okay. So now, usually in your exam, it is the proof that is asked. So let us try one problem, which is the derivation or to prove. Okay. So please note down the question. If y is equal to sine inverse x the whole square, if y is equal to sine inverse x the whole square, show that there are two subparts, 1 minus x square into y2 minus x into y1 equal to 2, and second part 1 minus x square into y n plus 2 minus 2n plus 1 into x into y n plus 1 minus n square yn equal to 0. Okay. So this is the question. So first you should write what is y. Is the question clear? Have you written the question? Yes. So first thing is we can go for this one. For any proof, you are having an LHS and you are having an RHS, right? LHS and RHS. So just take LHS and simplify it and try to make it equal to RHS. That's all. This common thing you should keep in mind. Clear? When you are going to do a proof, just make sure that you are making LHS equal to RHS. That is what they are asking. Clear to you? Okay. So let us take one by one. Here in this term, y2 is coming and y1 is coming. What does y1 indicate? What does y1 indicate? How much times you should differentiate? How much time? Yes, you should differentiate one time. Yes, Karthikeyan, I think you can follow these things. It is not so difficult. Okay. And what does y2 indicate? Y2 indicates you should differentiate 2 times. Yes, differentiate 2 times. So, first write y is equal to sine inverse x the whole square. This is given. Find out y1. Find out y1. Y1 means d by dx of sine inverse x the whole square. If you are taking this as x, d by dx of x square means what? D by dx of x square means 2x, isn't it? 2x. Therefore, it will be 2 into, but here x is sine inverse x. Therefore, 2 into sine inverse x. Is that all? What you should do? You should differentiate d by dx of sine inverse x. Yes, d by dx of sine inverse x. And d by dx of sine inverse x is given by 1 by root of 1 minus x square. Absolutely right. 1 by root of 1 minus x square. Any doubt in this? All of you? Is it clear up to here? Is it clear up to here? Yes. Now, next one is to find out y2. How can you find out y2? How can you find out y2? Yes, again you can differentiate. Again you can differentiate. So, before differentiating, you should understand one thing, that here if you can say convert it of the form, say when you are going to differentiate bottom bar to LHS. Yes, that's what I'm coming at. It is when you look at whenever you are having this proof, deriving something, you just look at the expression. Here you can see 1 minus x square into y2 is coming here. Okay. And what is y? What is y? Y is sine inverse x the whole square. Clear? So these are all some logic things that you should understand. These you can attain only by practicing problems. Okay. For this, if I can get sine inverse x the whole square, I can convert this into y. I can replace it by y. Agree? Yes. That's why what you can do is, you can take this to LHS. Therefore, it will become root of 1 minus x square into y1 is equal to 2 into sine inverse x. Agreed? All of you agree? Yes. Now what you can do? You just square both sides. You just square both sides so that why are you squaring? This term will become y. That's why. Okay. Therefore, when you square it, 1 minus x square, root of 1 minus x square becomes 1 minus x square into y1 square is equal to 4 into sine inverse x the whole square. Clear? Is it clear? So I can write it as 4 into y. Now we have got one equation that is 1 minus x square into y1 square minus 4y. I am taking this minus 4y from RHS is equal to 0. Up to here, all of you have written? All of you have written up to here, up to this step? Yes. Now you can differentiate. Now you can differentiate. You differentiate throughout. Differentiate throughout. When you differentiate these two terms, actually it is UV form, right? This is U, this is V. So d of UV means U into dV plus V into du. So I am taking 1 minus x square into, yes, first you differentiate y1 square. That is d by dx of y1 square plus y1 square into d by dx of 1 minus x square minus 4 into d by dx of y. Clear? Any doubt? Any doubt in this step? Is it clear to everyone? I have just taken du and v and applied d by dx of uv is equal to u into dv plus v into du. Okay. So 1 minus x square into, what about d by dx of y1 square? Yes, 2y1 you can write into, one more time you should differentiate y1, isn't it? 2y1 into, yes, d by dx of first derivative means it becomes y2. Got it? Is it clear? Yes, 2y1 into d by dx of y1 means y2 plus y1 square into, what about d by dx of 1? D by dx of 1, 0, yes, minus d by dx of x square, so into minus 2x. Agreed? Agreed? Yes. Now what about this one? What is dy by dx? How can I write dy by dx? y1, isn't it? Dy by dx can be written as y1. Clear? It becomes minus 4 y1 equal to 0. Now, have you got the first result from this? Can you get the first result? Can you just tell me whether you are able to get the first result? Please write it and tell me whether you are getting the first proof. This is what is the first proof that you have to do. Second one is yes, Muhammad got it. What about others? Yes, how did you get it? How did you get it? What did you do? You have to cancel throughout which term? Can cancel throughout which term? 2y1. Yes, 2 can be cancelled and y1 can also be cancelled. Yes, y1 and 2. Right. Therefore, we have got the first result, isn't it? Everyone? Yes. Next thing, here it is coming yn plus 2. Yn plus 2. Okay. Cancellation. Okay. 1 minute. So up to here, if you take, there is 2y1 here. There is 2y1 here also. y1 square can be written as y1 into y1. And there is 2y1 in this 4y1 also. Am I right, Karthikeyan? That you can cancel throughout. Got it, Karthikeyan? Yes. From every term you are taking out 2y1. That's all. Yes. So next thing is, if you listen, if you notice here, it is y2 and yn plus 2 means what? What does yn plus 2 refer to? d raised to n of y2, right? d raised to n of y2 means this is already differentiated twice, and when you are differentiating it n times means actually you are differentiating it n plus 2 times. d raised to n plus 2 of y is yn plus 2. Please understand that one. That is, when you are going to differentiate n plus 2 times, you get it as yn plus 2. Already you have differentiated twice, that is y2. Then how much more times you have to differentiate to get yn plus 2? N times, that's all. Understood? Y2 and I am going to find out y7. y7 can be written as y5 plus 2. Right? If you are having y2, how can you find out y7? You have to differentiate y2 how many times more to get y7? 5 times. 5 times. That's all. That is the concept behind this one. Okay. Therefore, already you have differentiated y 2 times. Now you are going, in your expression you are having, having yn plus 2. Okay, you are having yn plus 2. So what expression you are already have, usually the question will be a connected question. That is, first proof you got it. That result you have to differentiate it how many times? That result you have to differentiate it n times. That is, You just take d raised to n of this one is equal to d raised to n of 2. Okay, what is d raised to n of 2? What is d raised to n of 2? 0, right, 0. If you're differentiating 2 n times, so one time itself it becomes 0. So first term is d raised to n of 1 minus x square into y2 minus d raised to n of x into y1 is equal to 0. So how can you find out this expansion? How can you do it? How can you do it? This is a product rule, right? Yes, product rule, and that product n times you are differentiating. That is apply. Yes, Mohammed says it is Leibniz theorem. Can you agree? Can you agree? Yes. Therefore, write down the procedure that you should do is you just write down Leibniz theorem. D of n of uv is equal to yes u. Yes, what is d of n of uv? Please tell me. D of n of uv is equal to un into v, right? Plus nc1 into un minus 1 into v1 plus nc2 into un minus 2 into v2 plus etc. ncn u into vn. Okay. So in the first term, which one you will take u and which one you will take v? Which one you will take u and which one you will take v? In this one. U is equal to which one? U is equal to y2, right? V is equal to 1 minus x square. Agreed, Saida? Can you agree? Yes. What about the next one? Next one, here also you need to apply Leibniz theorem. U and V. U is equal to y1, right? V is equal to x, right? So, can you do it now? Can you do it? When you do it here, you will get d raised to n of y2. D raised to n of y2 means actually yn plus 2. That thing you should remember. It is very logical, right? Any confusion in this? D raised to n of y2, yn plus 2. Clear to both of you? Yes. So can you complete it now? Can you complete it? Yes, please try it now and check whether you are getting you try to arrive at the final result. Yes, are you getting it? Yes, what about you, Saida? Okay. This I will just expand it. D raised to n of 1 minus x square into y2, I can write it as d raised to n of y2 into 1 minus x square plus nc1 means n itself into d raised to n minus 1 of y2 into, this is v, we have to differentiate it once, that is minus 2x plus n into n minus 1 by 2 into d raised to n minus 2 of y2 into, again differentiate this one, it will become minus 2 plus, what about the next one, is d raised to n of x into y, right? Yes, x into y1. Therefore, it will be d raised to n of y1 into x plus n into d raised to n minus 1 of y1 into 1. And here you can replace this d raised to n of y2 as yn plus 2. This will become, this will become y2 plus n minus 1. That is y n plus 1, right? Yes, yes, right. So here it will become, as why I am telling is that, so that Karthikeyan, when he goes to the recorded session, he can also understand. Okay. So d raised to n minus 1 into y1 means it will become y1 plus n minus 1. So it will be yn. Like that you can simplify and finally you will get the answer. Agree? Okay. So I have uploaded that solved examples. Can you just work out all the other example questions? Yes, please let me know whether you are having any doubt regarding any of the problems. We will not be able to work out all the problems in the class. The typical type questions we will be working it out, and based on that you can work out the remaining one. Clear? Okay. So next class we will move on to the partial derivatives and some basics of vector calculus. So whatever we have learned is very little bit only. So from this around 20 marks are asked. That's why you just work out all the example questions that is been uploaded. Okay. Yes, Leibniz, there is a question. Yes, right. Yes, this textbook is actually from Kerala University. Faculty members have made some textbook. Yes. So you please work out this example problem. Yes, it is uploaded along with the recorded session, Mohammed. Haven't you seen? Okay, on the right top corner you can see a zip file. Have you gone through the news forum? Have you gone through the news forum? You please click on the news forum. From there, you will be able to see the recorded session and also the notes.